Welcome to Someone's in My Fruit Cellar podcast.
where the trapdoor creaks open and horror classics come back to life.
I'm Blake.
And I'm Lonnie.
Each episode, we dive into the blood soaked brilliance of classic horror films, breaking down the 10 scenes that sent shivers down your spine and etched themselves into horror history.
From demonic possessions to final girls, we'll dissect what made these moments unforgettable and crank up the dread with the perfect soundtrack to match each one.
Please visit our socials. We are on Instagram and Facebook at Someone's in My Fruit Cellar. You can find our podcast everywhere you listen to podcasts. Please rate and review. I also have another podcast called the Metal Pit Podcast. You can find that also everywhere you listen to podcasts. And please visit the Metal Pit website, which is www.themetalpit.org. What about you, Lonnie? How can people find you on socials?
You can find me on Facebook, Lonnie Hilario, and on Instagram, Decay of Reality.
Okay, Lonnie, and what movie are we doing this week?
This week, we're doing Halloween, which was filmed in 1978, directed by John Carpenter and co-written by Deborah Hill. The budget for Halloween was about $325,000, which was very low at the time. But it became one of the most successful independent films ever, grossing over $70 million worldwide. So the movie Halloween is about teenagers. They're partying, gossiping, and they're punished by the killer, Michael Myers. So we see Lori Strode as one of the main characters, and she's depicted as the good girl in the movie. She's stalked by the masked silent villain, Michael Myers. And this movie inspired franchises like Friday the 13th and A Nightmare on Elm Street as well. This movie also cemented Jamie Lee Curtis as a scream queen, quote unquote. Our actors in this movie are Jamie Lee Curtis as Lori Strode, Donald Pleasance as Dr. Samuel Loomis, Nancy Loomis Kise as Annie Brackett, Nick Castle as Michael Myers, PJ Souls as Linda Vanderklok, Charles Cyphers as the Sheriff Lee Brackett. And we're also see in this movie Kyle Richards as Lindsay Wallace and Brian Andrews as Tommy Doyle, the boy. The nurse in the movie is Marion Chambers, and she's played by Nancy Stevens.
And I guess not that it really matters. We'll get to that part later, actually, but we'll get to both parts later because I'm sure everybody that's listening to this episode has seen the movie before. But how many times do you know how many times you've seen this movie? Is this something you've seen a lot, or just that it was old and it's one of the first slasher movies, or maybe the first slasher movie?
I've seen this movie more times than I can count. It's actually allowed of me to watch this movie versus some of the other movies we've covered, like The Return of the Living Dead. There wasn't as much nudity in this movie. But yet again, in 1978, I wasn't around. So I did see the first time I saw this movie, I was in high school.
I know I've seen this, but I can't remember if I would have seen it. I probably saw it on TV, most likely, because I didn't go to very many movie theaters to see horror movies. It's not like my family would go see horror movies or anything. And since my wife doesn't like horror movies, it's not something I would have did. Even not that we weren't married or even knew each other back then, of course, in '78. But one thing you mentioned PJ Souls, who plays Linda. I did note when I was watching this movie again. I know I've seen it a bunch of times, but it's been a while. But when I watched it for this podcast, I went, "That's the girl from Carrie," the movie Carrie, of course. And then I looked her up today and went, "Oh yeah, she was also in Stripes as one of the two girls that Bill Murray and Harold Ramis fooled around with." But I can't
Yes,
do that.
Jamie Lee Curtis, this was her debut movie, which made her
Hmm.
really popular.
We didn't get to see her naked though. I don't know if she's ever been. Has she ever been naked in a movie? I don't know.
I'm not sure. I can't remember
Kind of
off the top of
thinking.
my head,
Thinking.
but she's definitely great. She's a great actress for sure.
But yes, that's not important anyway, right? No. Yeah, and I find as we always do, it's only our fourth episode, but whatever, we divide the movie into 10 different parts. Then we pick a song for each part. And I really found this movie to be hard to pick songs for. So far, the hardest one of any episodes we did is, which we'll get to. I even used the same group twice, which I don't like to do, but I did it because I'm like, I don't know what to pick here.
I feel because Michael Myers acts still childlike in a lot of ways, it was really difficult to pick something that was mean and aggressive with metal music.
And a
Yeah.
lot in this movie, like maybe the first slasher movie, like we said, and like nowadays, of course, it wouldn't even be considered horror, probably. It would just
No,
be considered a thriller or something like that. And so a lot of the time, yeah, he's like stalking people. So it's like this part of the movie, he's stalking them. And this part of the movie, he's stalking them. And even as a kid, right at the start, when we get to that, he's stalking there too, his sister. So it's can't put all these songs that are different about stalkers or whatever. So that's
yeah.
why I found the songs was hard to pick. But okay, you want to read our first part of the movie?
So in the first scene, we are in 1963 in Haddonfield, Illinois. And the movie begins with long, continuous POV shots from the perspective of a mysterious figure on Halloween night in 1963. The camera slowly approaches a suburban house where the teenage girl Judith Myers, which is Michael's sister, she's seen with her boyfriend on the couch and they're messing around. The unseen figure, Michael Myers, Judith's brother, he enters the house and then Michael then grabs a kitchen knife. After the boyfriend leaves, he said he had to go home. It was getting late. He heads upstairs, Michael does. And at the top, he finds a clown mask and he puts it on. What I think is interesting about this scene is the camera view narrows when he puts the mask on to mimic looking through the mask eye holes. He walks into his sister's bedroom and she's in there brushing her hair completely naked, and he brutally stabs her to death in her bedroom. We don't see how he arranges the body, but I'm assuming at the last one of the last scenes is how he arranged his sister's body. I think that comes up later. The scene maintains the mask POV shots until the killer leaves the house. And then Michael goes outside. His parents meet him out there, and this is a shocking moment because his parents are just standing there stunned while he's still holding that bloody kitchen knife. The parents just remain completely silent. They don't say anything, which I thought was strange, but that's the beginning. What did you think about the first scene?
I thought, okay, first I thought that his sister, she died really easily. Like a 6 year old, he was six, right? Yeah, he was 6 years old and he stabs her a few times and then she's dead. Like,
Yeah, she
maybe
didn't
it's
even put
because
up
you've
a
seen
fight.
so many horror movies where it takes a little bit more to kill somebody. So that was, but again, this is 1978 and we didn't have that many horror. We had Psycho and Texas Chainsaw Massacre and a few movies. So whatever. So she dies. Okay. And then I thought, yeah, and of course, this isn't no comedy in this well at all. I don't think you would call it comedy anywhere. But I was wishing that the parents would have got out of the car and saw the knife and said, "You're grounded, mister." But anyway.
Yeah, I was expecting more of a reaction from the parents. And not only that, you're right about his sister. She just sits there, Michael, what are you doing? and doesn't fight back against this 6-year-old boy, but it definitely establishes Michael's character at the beginning of the film. It sets the tone for the entire film. It's completely central horror, evil. And the other thing is, how come the boyfriend didn't see him standing there at the door while he was leaving with the knife in his hand? Is my question.
Yeah. And I thought when they were making out on the couch, like the boyfriend grabbed the mask and he put it on for a couple seconds. And then I thought he threw it on the floor, but then it happened to be upstairs when the kid picked it up. So I don't know if he carried it. I didn't remember him picking it up again.
Yep.
But so I thought that was a little strange too, but I guess it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and the sound of the clock was chilling though, except the
That piano, I was going to mention that. I guess the piano thing that we hear at the start of the movie and all throughout the movie is
yeah, that's interesting.
it's a scary piano thing. Like I find pianos can be scary, at least, whatever. So anything could be happening. You play that piano music there, and it's like scary. You know, something's going
Yeah,
to
it is
happen if
scary.
something like that is playing.
Did you know that
But
John Carpenter did all the piano music for the movie?
pardon? Sorry.
Fun fact, John Carpenter was the one who
Oh,
did all the piano sounds.
oh, did he?
Yep.
And not that it really matters, but Will Sandin was the name of Michael Myers as a 6-year-old. And he doesn't have a Wikipedia page, so I don't know if he did any other acting. He's probably typecast as a murderous little kid.
Yeah, he probably ended up like The Exorcist. People didn't accept him and he just left Hollywood. So what did you pick for a song for this
Okay, where's
scene?
my notes? Sorry, I just lost my notes. Oh, I didn't, this was hard, like I said. So I went with King Diamond. Can you guess what King Diamond song I picked?
Which one?
Halloween.
Of course. That's a good. See, it wasn't that hard, was it?
I guess that was easy, but it's not really that. I could have picked Halloween, the group Halloween, and their song Halloween, but the story of that is more about the Peanuts cartoon characters, not about somebody killing people. Not necessarily that King Diamond is used to songs about horror and stuff. So I thought, I guess that fits. And that's from his Fatal Portrait album from 1986. And what
Yes.
song did you pick?
I picked Hate Eternal, Sacrilege of Hate.
Mm.
Yep. That's the song I picked for this song because I feel like Michael Myers is he just hates everybody, his whole family and his sister.
But what? But yeah, I know. But it doesn't like. Why did he? I don't even know. He killed her. Oh, I guess I read somewhere that he killed her because she was more interested in sex than taking care of him. So that's why.
Really?
Yeah, I
That's
read that
interesting.
somewhere.
Why is she sitting there naked brushing her hair when she's home alone with her
Because
little
that's
brother?
what women do. That's what
Not
girls do.
me.
Especially if there's a movie camera in the room.
Yep.
Like,
And
yeah,
then she didn't put up a fight. It was weak, very weak.
she was upset that he's watching her naked or
Oh,
mostly naked. I think she might have had undies on, doesn't matter. Topless for sure.
she was completely naked.
So he was like, "What are you doing, you little pervert?" Probably she's thinking, and then he stabs her a few times. Yeah, I don't know, but
A 6-year-old, I don't know.
yeah, it doesn't like he wasn't a big 6-year-old. He was little, like it's. So yeah, I guess she was just an easy prey for whatever
Yep.
reason. Okay, now where do we go?
Oh, now we're going to Smith's Grove Sanitarium, October 30, 1978. The evil is gone. So it's a rainy night on a deserted road near the Smith's Grove Sanitarium. Dr. Loomis and Nurse Marion Chambers are driving in a 1976 Ford LTD station wagon, by the way. They're driving through a rainstorm. You hear thunder, lightning, and it looks like they're in a remote area, which would be typical for a psychiatric hospital. Loomis explains that Michael has been institutionalized at this point for 15 years since killing his sister at age 6. And then Loomis emphasizes Michael isn't just ill, he's purely evil. We see Marion in this scene. She's driving and she's chain smoking and skeptical of Loomis's intensity at this point. Loomis mentions Michael is being transferred to a court hearing, but he's strongly objecting to this. He requests to dose him with Thorazine, which is the good stuff, by the way, fearing the move of Michael will give him an opportunity to escape if he's not properly medicated. Loomis gets out of the car to check out the gate, and then suddenly we see a figure of Michael. Plus, we see other patients. So it seems that Michael tried to do a good deed by letting everybody else in the hospital escape too, but he ends up climbing into the back of the car where Nurse Marion is sitting, and he smashes the window with his bare hand and tries to drag her out. And in a panic, Nurse Marion scrambles across the seats. She ends up escaping. She's lucky she did, through the passenger side door. And then Michael slips into the driver's seat and steals the car, and he's speeding away into the night. And
yeah.
He can drive. I don't know how he learned how to drive.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, did he get his driver's license when he was in the insane asylum? Because he's 21 years old since he's been in there 15 years. And why? Because there's no, because the movie just jumps, obviously, the 12, what is it, for the 15 years, the movie jumps from that first thing to this. So it's 15 years later. So there's no backstory of how he is in the asylum, except that the doctor doesn't want him out. And why, yeah, and why are these patients walking around? Did he know they're coming to get him for a court appearance? So instead of waiting nicely in the asylum, he's going to break out so he can steal their car. I don't know how smart he is, if that was his plan.
Yeah.
And then the nurse, he's this, after the doctor saying this guy is pure evil, blah, blah, blah. And then he gets out of the car, and then Michael jumps on top of the car. And what does she do? She opens her window to see who's on top of my car. Like, why did she open her window?
Her cigarette went flying, that's for sure, because she was chain smoking the whole time during that ride.
Which, yeah, that
But
comes because they showed a close up of the matches, and I thought, why are they doing that? But then I realized later why they did
later,
that. Yeah.
yes, it's definitely a little bit scary with the rain, I think. And then seeing patients wandering in the storm, it's a little confusing at first, but then you have to think Michael, he's 21 years old at this point, but he still has the mind of a 6-year-old. So who knows?
But he knows how to drive a car.
But he knows how to drive a car. But later on, there's a comment. Dr. Loomis is speaking with one of the, I don't know if it's the administrators at the hospital, but the administrator said somebody taught him how to drive. But
Oh, did I didn't know. I might have missed that.
yeah, when they were having an argument before he went to Haddonfield to try to find him. But I don't know. Michael's uncanny resourcefulness, since he's been locked up since childhood, is somehow interesting.
Well, later he gets criticized for his driving, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to go first with the songs then?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Now, even though he didn't get this injected in it, my song is the Thorazine Shuffle by Sabotage.
That's a good one. I didn't even think about that one. I like it.
Which of course the song is about. In the song, checked it out just to see what's in the song too. But there's sounds of laughter from like an insane asylum in the song, but the song is about their daily dose of Thorazine that they would get, so they don't become crazy murderers, I guess.
Doctors
So,
don't like to prescribe Thorazine anymore, by the way. And guess what? Thorazine works. It works.
what does it do? Just make you
it makes you loopy, but it works for psychiatric patients, docs. Just remember that.
because I knew that song because I like Sabotage. I listened to them a lot, and that album, it's on the Gutter Ballet album from 1990. So I thought that's the first thing that came to my head. I thought, let me go see what the song is about for sure.
Yeah.
So I guess it fits since it's about an insane asylum. So there we go. So what's your track?
I pick cattle decapitation, your disposal, because Michael seems to just escape and the psychiatric patients are wandering around. They've been disposed. But it's definitely a eerie scene. And then, of course, the matches get disposed as well. And we later find out what's going on there.
And another thing they didn't mention, like all the other patients are walking around, and he was obviously escaped. And then when the doctor went to talk to this other doctor, or whatever person from the place, there was no mention of like that he killed so many people so he could get out or anything like that. And it's like,
Yeah.
why was he out? And why were the other patients out? And did you round them all up or whatever?
Michael was being nice. He was helping the other patients. He was trying to do a good deed.
Yes. But they should have ran away, but instead they were just dancing.
Yeah, they're walking around like zombies. They probably had that Thorazine.
Yes. Okay.
So next we're in Haddonfield, in the third scene or the third part of the movie that we're going to talk about. And this is October 31st, 1978, Halloween Day. Don't forget to leave the key at the Myers place. This is where we see Lori dropping off the keys because her dad is going to sell the house. Lori Strode is a high school student and she walks to school. She drops off the key at the old Myers house. She meets up with one of the boys she babysits and he warns her not to go up to the Myers house. He's already freaked out. He believes in the boogeyman. So he's a little scared because there is a history here. And I think the neighborhood is aware of that. His school friend, Lonnie, what was his name? Lonnie, right? Lonnie Elam or Elam, I think. He's the one who told the kid not to ever go up there. And so he's a little bit wary about this. He's wary about her going to this house to drop off the key. And then when she is dropping off the key, we see Michael behind the door, standing in the doorway, and then he spots Lori dropping it off. And then she departs to school. Michael is creeping outdoors. He goes outside and watches her leave and is heard breathing heavily, watching her walk away. So he's already creeping at this point.
So I was trying to figure out as I watched, because I don't know, sometimes when you watch a movie years ago, you just watch it, you don't really dissect it like we're doing. Like,
Yeah.
why is he after this girl for? Like, why is he after Jamie Lee Curtis? Why is he after Lori? And is it just because she dropped the keys off of their house and that's why he's after her? Is that the only point, I guess? Because I was thinking, because they're not related. It's just that because she's going to try to help her dad sell the house.
Yeah, maybe her dad owns the house and he doesn't like that. Maybe he doesn't like that somebody else owns it at this point and it's his house. This is his, and he hasn't been there since he's been, what, 6 years old. Now he's 21. And I guess there's some feelings of maybe he feels like this is his house.
Yes.
Because he does
But
have the
how
mind
does-
of a child still. He's still, I think, the way he's portrayed in the movie, they still make him seem very childlike in a lot of ways, and especially in some of the parts like when you see the sheet over him and he's wearing Bob's glasses. It's a little comedic, but then you think if you look at the psychology of it, he still thinks he's 6 years old. So he still thinks this is his house.
But if he was 6 years old when he did this, and then he went into a sane asylum. He's been there for 15 years. How does he remember where he lives? How does he know that somebody else owns a house? And I don't know. I just don't understand.
How does he know how to drive? How does he?
How does he know just because the girl's putting keys under the thing that her dad's trying to sell the house? I don't know.
Yeah, or maybe it's not that. Maybe we're overthinking it. Maybe he does remember where he was living but
Maybe
he's on a rampage to kill, so it doesn't matter who it is. He's just going to kill people
it's just
because
yeah,
he
they don't
killed his
show like they don't
sister.
show him coming back into his house and going in, or if because somebody else could have lived there for all he knew. I got to go into my own house and kill everybody that's here, so it's my house again. But apparently nobody's living there because people thought it was haunted.
Right.
Okay.
He just likes his house. He loves his house. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. So my song for this part is by a group called Raven Black. Do you know that group?
No.
Okay. They're I don't know, they're like Marilyn Manson kind of music, so we
Really?
call it like that, I guess. It's two I
That
think it's
sounds
two
good.
guys and two girls, the band. So they have a lot of dark kind of industrial kind of music, I guess you would call it. So they had an album in 2020 called The Key. And this song is also called The Key, so it's a title track of the song, but it's just an instrumental, and the instrumental is just a piano kind of thing. So I just thought this kind of fits. It's called The Key. The scene is about dropping keys off, and it's got a piano thing that kind of reminds you of Halloween. It doesn't sound like Halloween, but it's just spooky piano playing, and it's just instrumental. So there's my track for that one.
I'm going to have to check that out. I've never heard of them before.
I like them. Like they've only got a couple albums, but they're good, I think.
Nice. So I picked just the two of us. No, I'm kidding. I picked the Misfits Halloween 1985 album. You know the Misfits, right?
I do know the
Yeah.
Misfits. I think is that did they do Die Die My Darling also?
Yes,
I
die,
almost
die,
picked
die, my darling.
I
Yeah.
almost picked that song for one of the scenes, but I didn't.
Almost. We almost matched.
Okay.
So next is the afternoon and the evening when Michael starts stalking the babysitters, totally stalking the babysitters. Totally. I don't know how many times I heard totally in this scene. So Michael, of course, he's now an adult. We know this. He's returned to town. He begins stalking Lori and her friends after school, after stealing a mechanic's jumpsuit. And this is where the matches are, correct? Where
Yes,
the matches get left off.
beside the truck that he abandoned. I don't know if
What
he
was
crashed it.
okay? So he must have taken the matches and thrown them out of the car. Because I'm wondering, did Nurse Marion go for the guy that was driving the mechanic's truck? I didn't. At first, I was confused.
Yeah,
But yeah,
he must
he
have pulled the truck over, or he must have forced the truck off the road so he could kill the guy to take his outfit. And then the keys must have fell out of his car when he was doing that, or the matches must have fell out of the car when he was doing that, or something.
and while Lori is at school, though, she sees the car outside of the window and she's now starting to feel uncomfortable. She's not recognizing the car. Michael did the mechanic's jumpsuit on the way to Haddonfield. And it was called Flep's Garage I didn't do research on what Flep's Garage was, but that's the truck that he stole the jumpsuit from. And also after school, Tommy comes face to face with Michael. And Michael stalks him while he's walking home from school. Dr. Loomis arrives in Haddonfield and he's warning the local sheriff, which is Annie's dad, right? That Michael is dangerous and likely to head home, which he's already been home. So Loomis is already a bunch of steps behind, a little incompetent as well. But Dr. Loomis finds an abandoned truck, which is the Flep's garage truck, and the box of matches linking back to Marion's car, the car that Michael now has and knows how to drive. And my question was Dr. Loomis never notices the dead body in the bushes. He doesn't walk any further, but at the end of the scene, we see the mechanic and he's dead. And he quickly runs back. Dr. Loomis runs back to his car and to continue his search for Michael, but he's already way behind at this point.
Well, a few things. First, the matches were called Rabbit in Red. I have no idea what that means. If that's anything important to whatever fake. I know that the city is fake. Where are they? Kentucky? Where? I forget. Tennessee. I forget. Where is it? Kentucky or Tennessee? But was it common to have payphones out in the middle of nowhere?
I'm not sure. That's a good question. There was a payphone there.
Like a
And yeah, he's on the phone, but the dead body he didn't notice was a big miss, in my opinion.
yes. And what? Oh, and then when Michael was driving the car beside the kid, I found it strangely odd that he was driving the same speed of a whatever eight. How I don't know how old the kid is, 8 or something years old,
Mhm.
walking really slowly. He's driving really slowly, and the kid doesn't even look over to see that there's a car beside him for a little bit. He's just his head's just bobbing the other way, straight and to the right, but never to the left to see this car. So I found that kind of strange.
Wasn't that after he got bullied though and his pumpkin got smashed? The poor little boy is
Yeah, I
being
guess
bullied at school.
he was
He was
depressed.
upset because the bullies were after him and telling him the boogeyman was gonna get him, and then he ends up falling on the pumpkin and smashing it. I think the little boy was hoping to bring that home so he could carve it on Halloween. I felt a little bit
Oh,
bad about that.
sad. That's sad because there's no other pumpkins around at Halloween time.
No, Lori didn't bring one over either. She
Well,
did,
later, right?
yeah.
She did find it. She had another one. But anyway, okay. So my song for this one was my song. I just went by Dr. Loomis on the phone talking to the sheriff, saying that Michael's coming back. So my song is "Some Heads Are Gonna Roll" by Judas
Oh
Priest.
yes, I love that song.
Because I had no idea what else to put for this. I thought, what am I going to put? Stalker in a car, matches. I don't know, smoking in the boys' room or something. I don't know.
I picked a death metal song again. I picked Sacroptic Cruelty Incarnate. I feel the little boy was bullied. It was cruel. And now he came face to face with Michael. And Michael's cruel for sure. But he didn't hurt any of the little kids in the movie. He just
No.
stalks them.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we'll get to more of that later too. Okay, now we're talking. Now we're getting into him driving the car here.
Yes, this is the fun part. So I hate a guy in a car with no sense of humor. Lori notices Michael watching her throughout the day outside school, near her home, and from behind the hedges. I think Lori thinks at this point that she's hallucinating, but she does feel really uncomfortable as she's walking home with her friends. And Annie and Linda are walking home from school with her. Annie keeps saying totally after practically every sentence. And Annie teased her about seeing somebody near the bushes and feeling uncomfortable. They really get into her and tell her that she's too focused on school and that she needs to go out and do more things. And then,
Have
meanwhile,
sex, in other words.
yeah, meanwhile, Lori notices the shape of Michael's station wagon again, but her friends, and she says something about it, but her friends dismiss her worries and they keep cracking jokes. Michael keeps following them in his stolen car, and he stops abruptly when Annie screams, "Hey, jerk, speed kills." He stops right in the middle of the road, and then Lori spots Michael coming out of the bushes, like I mentioned earlier, Annie thinks she's wacko and now seeing men behind bushes. So this is an interesting scene.
Okay, so what one of my problems is okay, so high school ends. They're walking home from high school, right? And I don't know if they had some after school activities that they were doing first, but anyway, I'm thinking it's like around 4 p.m. I'm assuming when you're walking home from high school at the latest, unless you're in a sports event or something after school. And so Lori sees kids trick or treating. I'm thinking kids go trick or treating at 4 in the afternoon. don't notice that around. I'm surprised when they come at 5:30 here. I'm thinking, what are you doing here already? But here, 4 p.m., as Lori's just walking home from school, people are trick or treating. So that was weird to me.
That, you know why? Because we used to be able to wear a Halloween costume to school and go right from school to trick or treating. And back in even the 80s, our parents didn't know where the heck we were on Halloween. They were just like, yeah, go ahead after school, go trick or treating. And we bring everything with us. But nowadays, they don't let you wear your costume anymore to school. And you got to come home and change. And
Okay, maybe that's why that
yeah,
are going.
a lot more to it now.
I don't
Kids are not
remember.
as free range as they used to be.
There was, yeah, I got more later about stuff like that. Yeah. Actually, it's in the next scene.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I don't think there's anything else I had to say about that one. Yeah, he's just stalking her mostly in that scene or
He's
that part.
totally stalking them. Totally.
I went with this was part of the seeing men in bushes things. I went for ACDC song, beating around the bush because beating around the bush. And Dr. Loomis was also in the bushes scoping out her house. So yeah, so I went Highway to Hell album 1979, beating around the bush, which has nothing to do, I don't think, with stalkers, but anyway, it fits.
Well,
What about you?
I picked Morbid Angel, Visions from the Dark Side. I feel like Lori was having visions, thinking she was having visions, and definitely there's a dark side to Michael that she's just starting to realize that there's an issue here with whoever's standing there in the bushes.
Okay, we're on to number 6.
All right, we're on night babysitting. So Loomis and Sheriff Brackett searched the old Myers house and they patrol the neighborhood looking for Michael. And Annie, who's using her mother's car to drive them to babysit, lights up a joint. They start smoking weed on the way there. They're having a good time talking about boys, but they end up being so stoned that they don't hear the news station on the radio mentioning Michael's escape from the psychiatric facility. And also they mentioned the stolen station wagon on the radio, but they're more concerned with boys. And Lori mentions her crush, who is Ben Tramer. We don't know who he is. We never met Ben in the movie, but that's Lori's crush. And as Annie mercilessly teases her about it, they suddenly see Annie's dad, who's Sheriff Brackett. And Annie panics because they're smoking in the car. They quickly hide it, trying to act normally while he talks to them. There is a hardware store that got broken into, so we're assuming that's Michael that broke into that store. And they laughed it off, joking about the luck of running into her father, who's also the sheriff, while high. So they're having a good time in this scene. Michael casually drives by the broken hardware store, which I find is interesting that he drives right behind Dr. Loomis, and Dr. Loomis doesn't even notice him driving by him. And that Dr. Loomis is incompetent. Later, Loomis and Sheriff Brackett check out the Haddonfield Cemetery, and then they discover that Judith Myers' grave marker has been stolen. And then Loomis understands that Michael has taken it at this point. What do you got?
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say I'm trying to figure out what I wrote. Is this in the right part? But because yeah, there's a cemetery and then sorry. Okay, one thing because I remember. Okay, they're talking on the phone. Unless this comes in the next part, I'll say it now anyway. But Lori is talking to the girl. Sorry, I forget her name, but that's gonna come pick her up
Annie.
so they can go babysitting for their jobs or whatever. And
Uh-huh.
she says, "I'll pick you up at 6:30." So Lori's walking with her pumpkin that she's going to take to the kid. So he gets to carve a pumpkin that he doesn't have anymore. The kids broke it. And so she's sitting there waiting for him to pick him up. And it's 6:30 at night on Halloween night. I'm not sure how low the state is in the United States, but it's sunny out. It's like the middle of the day, it seems like it. But it's really bright out and sunny or whatever. But then, so she picks her up in the car, drops her off at the house, and then it's pitch black dark at the house. How far do they live away from these places that they work at to babysit? So I
Can't
just
be that
found,
far because it's within the neighborhood. That makes sense. That's a nice catch right
but
there.
yeah, so I don't know if that's just something they missed or they live 2 hours away from home to babysit or something. And that's another thing that I can talk about this later too. But usually I find parents that have kids want to stay home on Halloween night so they can take their kids trick or treating or they can hand out candy at their own house. But no, they hire a babysitter to do it while they're out. Maybe they're at a Halloween party themselves. I don't know, but I would
Probably.
I would figure if you have kids that I think those kids were still trick or treat age, you think you would stay home to take them trick or treating. But
Parents didn't
anyway,
care in the 70s. They're like, go trick or treating, come back home at 8 o'clock. We're gonna go out and party, drink, and we'll be back later.
I know
Yeah.
I'm nitpicking anyway, but
I know. No, I don't know how it was in the 70s. I wasn't born yet.
okay. And let's see, my song is just this is kind of lame too, I think, but my song is about, even though he's already been back, but about Michael being back home. So my song is Just Got Back by Cheap Trick, which, wait, I need some of the lyrics. Where it's about a guy or person who's been gone from home for too long and he's back home again. So I'm just so glad to be back home. And he's excited to be back home so he can kill people, even though the song has nothing to do with that because it's Cheap Trick, who his album was from 1980, All Shook Up by Cheap Trick. I don't know, people might remember the Dream Police.
Yeah, it was, again, it was really tough to pick songs. And for myself, it
Yeah.
was difficult to pick songs for this movie. There's a lot of long shots with Michael's perspective. So it was a very difficult movie to pick songs for anyway. But I picked, let's see here, Deeds of Flesh, Hunting Humans on the Trading Pieces album that was made in 2001 because Michael is hunting humans constantly.
Another thing about this movie, there's not a lot of people dead, especially not in the first like hour and 10 minutes of the movie. There's not
You're
that many
right.
people dead yet. Only a couple. Not like the zombie movie we did last, Return of the Living Dead or something.
There was a lot of Michael creeping things out at
Yeah.
first before he even kills anybody. He's just creeping and creeping.
And I'm sure in the later Halloween movies, there's 10 of them now, I think, or something, but I'm sure the killings got a lot more than they were in this movie. Okay. Number 8.
Wait, are we on 7?
Oh, sorry, 7.
Woo! Trick or treat, give me something good to eat. So Michael follows Annie and Lori to their car and parks behind them as Annie lets Lori off to Tommy's house. Tommy's the little boy that Lori's babysitting. Lori babysits Tommy Doyle across the street from Annie, who is also babysitting Lindsay Wallace, who is another little girl and another small child, little girl that Annie's babysitting. Meanwhile, Dr. Loomis and Sheriff Brackett return to the Myers house for clues. They find a half-eaten dog, implying Michael killed it for food. And when they get upstairs, the window breaks. Now, I'm not sure how that happened or what happened when the window breaks, but Loomis decides he's freaked out at this point. He's like, I'm going to stay at the Myers house until Michael returns, which I don't think was a very good decision. But he decides to stay there until Michael returns to the Myers house. And Michael continues his creeping in the stolen station wagon around Haddonfield.
And it does show, I don't know if this was important for John Carpenter to put in the movie, but he pulls out his gun when that happens because he's thinking somebody's breaking through the window or that it's Michael. But then it was just whatever, a tree or something broke,
Yeah.
whatever, however that happened. And he says to the cop, "Don't I got a permit," and he even shows him the permit or whatever. So I guess that was to show that later on that it's not going to be a surprise that the doctor's carrying a gun. Yes. And I don't think I have anything. That was just, yeah, that was, I could have saved it's pitch black after it was just daylight out for that scene, but that's okay. And now this is where I use my same group. So I have AC/DC again from the same album, Highway to Hell. And my song is Night Prowler, since now it's night. So yeah, so that's what I did. Sorry, that's not very creative. But anyway, there we go.
Mine is random. I picked Suffocation Pierced from Within. I don't know why. To be honest with you, I picked that song. Maybe it was the sound of the breaking glass. And later on, we do see this is where the creeping ends and where the murders begin. So
yeah,
that's from their 1995 album. Yeah.
Yeah, this
It's
compared to the
random.
other movies we've done, this one's a little slower in getting to the murders or whatever. Or
Right. And even Evil Dead, there was a lot of long
yes,
POV shots and things like that. But in this movie, there's nobody's getting possessed or no. So it's a lot more working up to the killings
yes.
versus So it makes it difficult
a,
to pick a
more of a
song.
suspense or thriller now. Like nowadays, if this movie was out, more than it is a horror movie. But of course, it's a classic horror movie, like you said.
A lot of focus on Michael's character and building up his character before the killings.
Yes. Okay. Now, oh no, yeah. Now we're on the number 8.
Now we're on number 8. Michael kills Annie. Death has come to your little town, Sheriff. Michael stalks Annie, and while the girls are talking about boys, Tommy spots Michael, the boogeyman, because Tommy believes in the boogeyman. Lester, the family dog, is let outdoors, but he's barking inside the house at first before she finally lets him go out. He finds Michael and he continues barking at him. A poor little dog gets killed. It was a German Shepherd, I think. In the scene where he's suffocating the dog to shut him up so he can continue his creeping on the girls after Annie is rescued by her TV kid, because all her kid wants to do is watch TV. Not much different from today's kids, but
so did she not get to go trick or treating? I didn't see that.
I wonder if the little girl even cared. All she wanted to do is watch TV. And after she's rescued, because now her clothing got dirty and she had to, was the laundry outside of the house? It was in a separate
they had a laundry
area.
house.
Okay.
Heard that before, but yes, they had
so she's in there and she gets locked in and she decides she's going to try to get out through the window, and she gets stuck trying to escape out the window. The little girl finally comes outside to rescue her, but when she gets back into the house, Annie, she has one thing on her mind when her boyfriend calls her. Her boyfriend said he's grounded, by the way, her boyfriend, but he ends up calling her and saying his parents are out for the night and he wanted her to go pick him up. And it sounds like she wants to be stuck in more position at this point because her boyfriend suggests a meeting because his parents aren't home. But Annie leaves her kid with Lori, so she goes across the street, and the little girl goes with Lori and Tommy because I think the little girl's a little crush on Tommy, so she's really excited about going there. And then Annie is going to get her boyfriend at this point. And then Michael, he catches up with her, strangles and kills Annie. And then we hear more heavy breathing from Michael in the car. Tommy spots Michael carry her dead body into the house, which is interesting. And then he starts freaking out and saying the boogeyman is here. Dr. Loomis, on the other hand, is hanging outdoors of the Haddonfield house. He's creeping around. And the bullies from school from earlier approach the house. And they were talking about maybe possibly, I think, going in the house and exploring it. Dr. Loomis yells at the kids. I think that was creepy. He said, "Hey, Lonnie, get your ass away from here." So they run away. Yeah.
Smile, though. It was his first smile in the movie.
Yes. But the doctor creeped me out when he had that weird voice and he's behind the bushes. At this point, I think Dr. Loomis should be in town looking for Michael because he's not coming home. Obviously.
Yes, he's obviously out trick-or-treating.
Yes, he's hunting humans.
Yes, and what was I gonna say there? I did notice. Oh, the one thing that I found strange was earlier in the movie, Lori is like seeing Michael everywhere and getting freaked out because she keeps seeing Michael. But once the boy says the boogeyman's out there, she goes, "There's no such thing as a boogeyman. Nobody's out there." I'm thinking, "What didn't you remember a couple hours earlier, or you were seeing somebody?"
Lori's such a good girl and she doesn't want the kids to get scared. So she's trying to deflect and keep the kids from getting scared.
But at least the girl believed him.
The little boy didn't believe it, but
and
the little girl, she's just watching TV. She doesn't want to do anything else. So until Tommy gets there.
Yeah, where is I think I forgot one of the because you said about the girl watching TV all the time. I guess I forgot to mention it earlier. I don't remember where it was, but I noticed that she was watching The Thing was on. And then during this scene, they were watching Planet Nine from Outer Space with Leslie Nielsen, which I just, even though I don't think I've ever seen that movie,
I noticed that
they were watching that. So
that's a good mention. Yeah.
My song just is about the killing of Michael killing the girl in the car. So my song is Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
I love it.
By Meatloaf on his Bat Out of Hell album, because this was another one I thought, what the hell song am I gonna pick? So that's what I went with. I was looking through my Spotify list trying to what song fits this, and I just went, okay, I guess
I think that's a great fit. I like it.
Even though I know the song is about sex, not about killing somebody in a car, but whatever. There we go. So what about you?
I picked because the dog in the scene when I first saw the movie that really got me. In the beginning when I first saw the movie, I thought maybe it was real because it did look real. It's not a real dog, by the way. The song that I picked is Ozzy Osbourne, "Bark at the Moon."
Yeah.
In tribute to Ozzy.
It's funny. I don't like watching dogs or cats, I guess, for that matter, getting killed in horror movies, even though I realize it's fake, of course.
It is fake. But, and the half dog is fake too. It's just a prop.
Yeah, but I would rather I could see people getting killed and guts torn out of their bodies. I don't care. But if I see a dog getting killed, fake killed, I don't like it.
Michael has a very low frustration tolerance. Maybe the dog wasn't actually gonna hurt him, and obviously it wouldn't have, because we see at the end of the movie he after getting shot 6 times he's gone. Maybe he just was frustrated at the barking sounds.
Yeah, I think he just didn't want them to come out looking for him until he was ready. But yeah, I was gonna say something about that dog, but
but Annie was boy crazy, so it didn't matter anyway. The dog could have barked and she wouldn't have cared.
Yeah, she just kept yelling at the kid to go, "Your dog's barking." Oh, she says he found a maid or something.
She was more focused on going to get her boyfriend getting down and dirty.
Yeah.
And she had no clothes.
Okay, let's get into the down and dirty then.
Number 9, she's totally not here. Meanwhile, first I want to mention how many times the phone rang in this movie and how thankful I am that we don't have those phones around anymore because the ring was starting to get to me. Linda, we see in the scene, she's out drinking and getting high with her Dahmer looking boyfriend in his truck. They plan to jump scare Annie at the Wallace's home. But when they notice she's not there, they decide to get down on the couch and have a quickie in the sheriff's bed instead. So Michael is standing nearby. Then he strangles Linda's boyfriend. He looks like Jeffrey Dahmer. Always thought that because of his glasses and everything. And then stabs him, leaving him hanging like a family photo on the wall. So Bob is now dead, and Michael plays a joke. And I think this is where Michael's childlike behavior still exists, where he puts the white sheet over him and he puts the boyfriend Bob's glasses on over the sheet. And she's waiting for beers, right? She's waiting for her boyfriend to come back with some beers. But she instead sees somebody standing there with a sheet and glasses on, and she thinks it's her boyfriend playing a joke on her. But Michael then approaches Linda and strangles her while on the phone with Annie. And because did she get freaked out? And they were trying to get a hold of Annie, right?
She was on the phone with Lori though when
Lori.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got the two mixed up
Yeah.
because Annie's dead at this point.
Yes.
Lori, now fully freaked out, runs upstairs to check on her kids because she can't get a hold of Annie.
Yes.
Okay. And then Linda is making sounds on the phone. And at first, I think Lori thought that she was making sex sounds with her boyfriend. Yeah. But now she's realizing that's not what it was after all.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a few comments about this. First of all, why did the Dahmer boy, why did he get all dressed to go down to the kitchen to get a beer when there was nobody else in the house anyway? So I didn't.
I was wondering that too. I was wondering that too.
It doesn't take that long to go get a beer from the fridge.
And he wanted to do it again, so why bother putting clothes on?
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so I don't really, maybe he was a shy guy and said, no way, I can put clothes on to go downstairs or whatever. I don't know. I don't want to be topless. I don't know. But yeah. And then I also found it odd that they would decide to go have sex in somebody else's house in their bedroom. I could see them making out on the couch, but then thinking, oh, let's go up to the sheriff's bedroom and have sex. Well,
maybe it was a fetish. Maybe it was a fetish. Let's go have sex in the sheriff's bed. That would be cool.
And then also I noticed there was a jack-o'-lantern in the bedroom on the nightstand with candles on. Do people really put jack-o'-lanterns in their bedrooms when they're not even home with the candle burning?
For later.
So I didn't understand that either. Maybe there were lights or something, but I'm sure there were candles back in 1978.
Yeah, and can I just say how fast that was? It was like bang, 1, 2, 3, done. I would have broke up with him. I'd have been like, see ya. No, this is done.
That's why I wanted to do it again, I guess.
Yeah. What a disappointment from Jeffrey Dahmer looking boyfriend.
But when he did go get the beer and he noticed the door open and then Michael kills him and sticks him into the wall, it was also odd that Michael was standing there looking at him for a few seconds like he was admiring his work. I'm not really sure what that was about, but he was just kind of looking at the guy hanging on the wall and he was admiring his work. But then they didn't show it. I guess he must have took him off the wall because he's not on the wall later. So anyway, maybe that's what he was thinking about. What should I do here? Maybe that was the point of him looking at it or something before he went upstairs.
Michael's an artist. That's his art.
I guess, yeah.
He's an artist and an architect.
So my song for this is, I got my Canadian content in here, is I got an Anvil song, Anvil, from their first album in 1981, a song called Bedroom Game. It's
Ooh.
just about the guy wearing the white sheet and the glasses because he's playing a game and then he kills her. And one of the lyrics in the song is, "You went crazy after that night. You went dead after that night," but whatever. So yeah, there we go. Bedroom Game.
I picked Necrophagist Stab Wound 2004 because his boyfriend or her boyfriend gets stabbed up against the wall.
Yeah, that's because my next song by the group, I could have used them, but I didn't want to use the same group twice in a row. So I'll explain that. So now we're on to our final scene or part of the movie.
Oh, the final scene. Let's see. I'm gonna get to that real quickly because I really want to see it on my monitor. Lori discovers the bodies. This is the final confrontation in the movie. We see Dr. Loomis, who's been hanging out the Myers home all night while people are getting murdered, is starting to realize he's not coming home at this point. He decides to leave in search of Michael. Lori, worried about not hearing from Annie, goes to the Wallace's house. Big mistake. Inside, she finds Annie, Linda, and Bob's bodies arranged in gruesome displays by Michael, the dog killer. And apparently, he's now an artist, the way he set up the bodies. Michael uses the headstone that he stole earlier in the movie, his sister's headstone, in his display of Annie's body at the Wallace's house and the sheriff's bed, crazy, to recreate his sister's murder scene. Michael attacks Lori, slashing her arm. She escapes back to Tommy's house. Lori defends the children and fights Michael with a knitting needle, which I didn't understand, a coat hanger, and finally his own knife. Dr. Loomis arrives just in time. He shoots Michael 6 times and he knocks him off the balcony. When they look again, Michael's body is gone, but only his breathing is heard as the camera shows dark shots of the neighborhood.
I have a lot of comments about this part.
Yes,
More
please.
nitpicking or needle picking.
Please. Please comment.
Okay, first, before the finale there, Lori runs out of the house screaming for help, or maybe she already got stabbed in the arm. Then she ran out of the house, right? She got the rake off the door, or whatever that Mike put up there, so she couldn't get out. But she got out and she's outside screaming, and there's nobody around. Like it's Halloween. I don't know what time of the day it is now, what time of the night it is, but it's Halloween night. Now I realize kids could be done trick or treating, but they're not done vandalizing houses and soaping windows. But there's nobody out. Nobody's walking their dogs. There's like nobody outside at all. So I found that odd. But maybe it was in the middle of nowhere where there just happened to be 2 or 3 houses right together or something. And then she did go to somebody's house and they turned the light on, but they didn't help her. So that wasn't very nice either.
They didn't help her. Maybe they heard the radio news station and decided, no way, we're not unlocking our doors. They told us to keep our doors locked.
Yeah, they didn't go out for
Screw
the
you.
night. They didn't go out for the night. Those people. I don't.
They're probably an old couple.
Okay, and then yeah, she stabs him with the sewing needle, and it makes him like it knocks him out, like he's laying down, he's not moving. It was just a sewing needle. I thought you're a strong man here. I don't know, whatever. But of course, he gets up. And then she goes and hides in a safe place, a closet that's made of like wicker doors that nobody can penetrate. And so he breaks through that with his fists, of course. Then she stabs him with a coat hanger and then gets the knife. And then again, she stabs him with a knife. And then again, he's knocked out really easily, or like he passes out for a few seconds. Yes, I don't know, but it's not that much has happened to him. And he's down. And so then she goes and gets the kids and she tells them to go to the neighbors to call the police. And we're thinking, why are you staying in the house for? Why aren't you going with the kids and you call the police. Like, they're 9 years
Yeah.
old. Like, they're 9 years old. Shouldn't you be the one to tell the police what's going on, not telling a 9-year-old kid to do it? And if she thought he was dead, why stay in the house anyway? He's already dead, she thought. But you're just staying in the house because he's not dead, and it makes for a good movie that he wakes up again and tries to kill her. So those are all my things about my nitpicking the movie.
Yeah, and he punches through the closet door, but he can't handle any pain. Almost like a child when they get hurt, they cry elephant tears. You know what I'm trying to say? He can't handle any pain, but he can punch through things.
Yeah,
And yeah,
he was strong. He held that guy, Dahmer guy, up by one
yeah.
hand. But yeah, a knitting needle knocks him out for a little while or something.
It shows he's got a little bit of a weak side.
I guess
You
maybe
know, he's
that was
still
the
got
six.
that
That's the 6-year-old.
childlike behavior. Yeah, he's got a 6-year-old's mind. We got to keep that in mind. He's 21, but he's mind of a 6-year-old, but he can drive a car and, you know, those
And he
types.
got up quicker from the 6 gunshots than he did from the knitting needle. Like,
That's a good point. That is a really good point. He got shot 6 times, but he ran away. And then she
yeah,
has,
and he
what did she
fell.
do
He
with the
fell
baby?
off the top of the second floor of the house to the ground, and you see him there, and then he looks back and he's gone.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
why? So when the doctor sees that he's gone, why doesn't the doctor run downstairs and go to the house to see if he can see where he went? I didn't understand that. He just stood there and went, "Oh, he's gone." Well,
It's just like he was standing at the Myers house all night. Oh, he's running. He made this big deal about Michael being escaping, and he was saying how everybody was gonna die, and but he decides to hang out at the Myers house all night instead of going out into the town to look for him.
yeah, maybe he only had 6 bullets, but then wouldn't he be thinking, well, if he's gone from where he just fell, he might be coming back in to kill us? But he just kind of stood there and looked and wonder what happened. That's it. So
Yeah,
I know it for
it
the
definitely sets the tone for the next movie. I
yes,
think
that's really what it.
that was their point.
Yeah,
But
I just have all
yes,
these questions.
I do too. I have a lot of questions. But then again, you got to think the budget was $325,000.
Yes, and this is
So
one
they
of the
didn't have much to work with there.
yes, and it's one of the earlier movies, and they don't expect people. They probably didn't think people are going to watch
Mm-hmm.
the movie over and over again 20 times or whatever, stuff like that.
It's a $70 million franchise now.
Yeah.
So we have
So anyway,
questions
so my
now.
song. Oh, so I picked "Run for Your Life" by Twisted Sister from their Under the Blade album in 1982. And I was going to, for number 9, instead of Bedroom Game, I was going to use Under the Blade by Twisted Sister, but I just didn't want to use the same group twice in a row. So yeah, so there's my
Tough.
song. What's your song for the last part?
My song is from Visceral Disgorge, Architects of Warping Flesh, from their 2019 album. Because
Oh,
Michael's an architect and an artist. He's making arrangements, like putting his sister's headstone on where people's dead bodies and things. And
yeah, I didn't know what that. I didn't really. Why did he? I don't know why he did that though, but I guess it's just for
he
art.
was trying to recreate his sister's death.
Yeah.
He's trying
So,
to recreate the scene. So I'm assuming that's how he arranged his sister's body after he killed her, was lying in the bed or whatnot. That's my guess. And those are some of the questions that I have.
yeah,
So, yeah.
and how they should have shown because would he be able to lift his sister up? He was only 6 years old, but I guess he'd be able to drag her over and push her up.
He was able to stab her without her fighting back at 6 years old. So who's to say? Still a great movie.
Yeah,
I do see the slight humor in it because of Michael's childlike behaviors as well.
Mhm.
Dr. Loomis is extremely incompetent as a doctor. He should have never been practicing psychiatry. He was so many steps behind him this whole time. And you know what else? The sheriff never found out his daughter was dead. Like, we didn't get to.
Oh no! Like, where was did the sheriff even come back to the house? I don't remember.
He met Dr. Loomis on the street while Dr. Loomis was walking the streets looking for Michael. And at this point, Lori is being attacked by Michael in the house. So they never even find him until the very, very end. And the sheriff wasn't there. I don't believe he
No,
was.
I don't think. I think he
It was just Dr. Loomis.
The doctor shot him. The sheriff never showed up or anything. So that's another thing. He could have ran out. And where the hell's the sheriff? And said he's still loose. Let's get him. Movie's not over yet.
Yeah. Oh, did you want to mention who the actor was when the mask came off?
Oh yeah. No, I have to find it. Oops.
Because it's a different actor.
Oh yeah. Yes. Oh
Right?
shoot. Sorry. Wait.
Did you find?
So his name was the guy that when he took the mask off, that was not the guy that was wearing the mask through the whole movie. So that was his only part when he took the mask off. His name is Tony Moran, whose sister is Joni from Happy Days.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Happy Days.
And he appeared as a guest on shows like The Waltons and Chips, but I don't think he had much of a other movie or TV career besides that. So I guess his most famous thing was a 1 second part in Halloween.
And so Nick Castle was the main guy who played Michael Myers then.
Yes.
But okay. Yeah, I didn't know that until
Yes.
today.
Because I see a pic. Because he also has a he played Michael Myers and he has a cameo in the 2018 Halloween movie.
Okay.
He helped co-write the movie Escape from New York, and I don't know if he's done anything else. I guess those are the biggest things he's ever did. But yeah, he was in a bunch of movies though, just not as big as this one. And I guess he was not with Jason, like Freddy Krueger, where it's the same Freddy Krueger like every movie, and then Jason not always the same, but multiple times it was the same guy. So I guess I'm not really sure about the other Halloweens. I just know that he didn't continue as Michael Myers. And
I wonder why they chose a different person to be unmasked. Maybe it was due to age. I don't know, to make it look like he was younger.
Yeah, I don't know because it's just I don't understand. It's not like he was. It's not like he looked like the 6-year-old or anything. I don't know. And it was really brief too. It was just like the mask fell off in his fight and he put it back on. So I don't really understand why he couldn't do that part himself.
I wonder if it was, I don't know how old he was when Nick, his name was. I don't know how old he was. Maybe they wanted to, because at this point, Michael's 21. So maybe they wanted someone that was 21 or looked younger. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I have no idea. Yeah, I don't want to do math to figure out. He was born in 1947.
Yeah, that's something we'd have to research.
He was born in 47, so he would have been 30, 31 when he made this movie.
Okay, so that makes sense. They probably swapped him out with a younger guy.
Yeah.
Younger looking guy.
You're too ugly. You have to keep the mask on.
You're too old. We need to get somebody else when we take off the mask.
I wonder why did he even get the mask to come off anyway? There really was no point, was there, of seeing his face? I don't like it. Doesn't make any difference in the movie.
Yeah.
So I don't really understand why they even showed his face. Especially when it's not going to be in the other Halloween movies either. The other guy, the guy that showed his face.
And normally these masked killers are never unmasked. It takes everything to get them unmasked.
Yeah.
And this was like right off the bat, he's unmasked, and we see like a 1 or 2 second part where he doesn't have a mask on.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't know. We'd have to ask John Carpenter.
We would. John Carpenter, please answer that question.
Send us a message and tell us. Okay, so do you
But
have any other notes about this movie or the
yeah,
franchise?
I have some facts. So the film pioneered the idea of the final girl. Lori survives by being resourceful and cautious in the movie. A lot of the other horror movies during this time, there was no final anybody except for Texas Chainsaw. There was a final girl,
Mhm.
but this one pioneered it because Halloween did become a lot more popular.
Yes.
There was heavy use of point of view shots to put the audience in Michael's perspective. So I thought that was interesting as well, especially in the beginning where he puts on the clown mask and all we see is his point of view. This movie is also known for slow burn tension, long stretches of silence, wide shots of suburban streets, which is probably why we had such a hard time picking songs because all we saw were wide shots and streets for a long time. Michael lurking in the background is pretty much the theme of this movie. And Michael's mask was a modified Captain Kirk William Shatner mask, spray painted white. I thought that was interesting. And also want to take a moment and talk about the guns in this movie because I like guns. Smith & Wesson Model 10 revolver was used. Type 38 Special 6-shot double action revolver was used in this film. That was the sheriff's gun. And it was the standard sidearm of many police officers in the 1970s. Meanwhile, Dr. Loomis carries a Smith & Wesson Model 15 revolver, a 38 Special as well, which he uses in the final confrontation with Michael Myers. So I like those. I like both of those.
Now, I read, I guess it was Wikipedia. It says there's a TV series in the making. I don't know because I know Friday
Of
the 13th.
Halloween?
Yeah, but it doesn't have any information. All it says is that there's a TV series in the making. That's all it says. It doesn't have.
In the making, or has it already been made?
No, it said, I believe it just said in the because it didn't have any more information, so it just said it was in the making. I think.
I think I saw that on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let me look it up.
It didn't. It says a television series is in development. That's all it says. It doesn't say anything else about it on Wikipedia. That is.
Hold on. I'm researching this right now because I'm curious.
Sure. And there was a part. No, if I can find it. Some scholar wrote that slasher films are about people's sexual, psychosexual forthcomings or something.
Okay. It sounds like this might be somewhat true and somewhat a rumor. I'm not sure for this Halloween television series. It says that it's facing delays and potential uncertainty. Miramax acquired the TV rights and announced a series rooted in the original 1978 film, which is the film we're covering today. I guess they were aiming for a creative reset, but there's been a lot of leadership changes at Miramax, specifically the departure of the executive who was championing the project. So it's in it sounded like it was in the making, but there's been a pause in the development of it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no official confirmation on release date at this time.
I don't know if I would watch. I preferred Friday the 13th over
Yeah,
Halloween,
same.
but Nightmare on Elm Street I liked for a few movies, but I didn't really keep watching it. I kept watching all the Friday the 13th, even the dumb ones. But I kept
Yeah, so
watching them.
when did you see these movies in the 80s?
Yes, I would have
You
seen them.
did.
Yes.
I
Probably
was
just on TV, most likely, most of them, until I started renting movies and stuff. And then I probably did rent some.
because in the 80s I was watching Chucky.
Yeah.
because I was a little kid. That's my favorite.
But
Chucky was my favorite.
I didn't really, I liked the first one, but then I didn't really get into most of them, even though I did watch the when he got married, when Chucky, I don't forget what it's called. Chucky, is it called Chucky Gets Married? I don't know, but the one
Mhm.
with Jennifer Tilly in it is the female doll.
Yeah.
I did
Oh,
watch
I
that
love
one.
Chucky movies. I do. And I watching, yeah, Friday the 13th was definitely iconic. I watched that more than Halloween.
Yeah.
Halloween's still great. Still love it.
But yeah, it's been a while since because there's 10 of them, but I don't even know if I don't like because Rob Zombie did a remake of one. I don't even know if I watched that one or not. If I because I don't really remakes anyway. I'd rather just write a new movie or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. But it's
yeah.
crazy that they made it's a great movie.
Mhm.
And to me, it's crazy that they only had $325,000. Now, Evil Dead had what, 350?
Yes.
About that, and
Yes.
they ended up going over their budget. I didn't look if they went over if Halloween went over their budget, but they did a really spectacular job putting this movie together on such a low budget.
Yeah. And that's probably why some of the things are like time constraints where like I said about how it was daylight out and then 10 minutes later it was pitch black or
Because they only had certain amounts of
yeah.
time to film the scenes, and they're just,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, our budget, we got to get this done.
Yes.
But I feel like a lot of 80s films have inconsistencies, like 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
There's a lot of inconsistencies because I'm that critic where I'm like, why did that scene do this and now it's doing that? But I never think about the budget. I never think about they probably had time constraints.
Yeah, you never would. Yeah, that's now when we think about stuff like that. But
Yeah.
anyway, yes.
Do you
Let's
have any interesting facts?
I no, I think I've already said any interesting facts. I know Halloween 3 is the only one of the Halloween movies that has nothing to do with Michael Myers. And I don't really understand the point of that, but and I watched the movie, but I thought this is stupid. Probably because I was
Yeah.
wanting Michael Myers. It's probably why I thought it was stupid. But I have seen people say, "Oh, it's the best Halloween movie ever," or whatever. But I don't know. It's just odd. They should have called it something else. They should have just called it Season of the Witch, not Halloween 3. Because then you got
Well,
Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers,
yeah.
and
I have
etc.
another fact here.
Okay.
Haddonfield is a real town, by the way, but it's in New Jersey, not Illinois.
Oh,
Just so
okay. It said
everybody
it was a
knows.
fictitious, mostly fictitious town. Well, it says
Yes,
it's a
and
fictional town of Haddonfield, Illinois. Where did you say it's in Illinois?
it's not in Illinois, it's in New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Hmm?
Maybe they got their name from this movie.
Yep. And then the house, you can actually book tours of the house too and visit it, the Myers house, because it's a real house.
Oh, okay. They didn't really do a lot in the house, so did they? At least not in the first.
No.
Just the kid killing is still, and him looking out the door or the window or whatever. But I guess just because it was in the movie is cool, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Let's see. It took less than 2 weeks to write the script for Halloween. Less than 2 weeks. How is that possible?
Maybe they had AI
Uh,
back then, did they?
yeah, John Carpenter, he originally intended to call the movie The Babysitter Murders. But
Yeah, that makes sense.
another producer suggested that the story may be more significant if it were based around a specific holiday. So John Carpenter chose Halloween. Obviously, if you're going to make a horror movie, what better holiday to pick?
Yeah, doesn't seem. Yeah, I'm just skimming through some of these movies to see if they even ever use the same Michael Myers more than once. But
No, there's been 16 different ones.
oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah. 16 different Michael Myers actors who played Michael Myers. Yeah. And the production was incredibly short. Come on, with a budget like that, it's got to be. But it only took them 20 days to shoot the film. That's crazy. Can you imagine how burnt out those poor actors must have been?
Yeah. And they didn't get to have all that sex.
The only part was a quickie. It was a disappointment.
So 2007 is when Rob Zombie remade the movie.
Okay.
And then in 2009, they had a Halloween 2. Don't like they running out of ideas. Can't they name it something else? And then 2018, there was another movie just called Halloween again. I don't know. And then you have Halloween
Yeah. And it
Kills,
was actually, yeah.
and then Halloween Ends. And Jamie Lee Curtis came back for one of those. I just don't remember
Uh-huh.
which one it was. Or she's been in a few of them, I think.
She's
But
still highly involved with the franchise
yeah,
to this, even to this day, which is probably why they've raked in all the millions because she's an
yeah,
incredible actor.
yes.
The film itself was not seasonally correct, so it wasn't actually fall. So they had to bring in dozens of bags of fake leaves, and they were the leaves had to be painted by the production designer. So to make it autumn looking instead of green. Apparently, it was summertime during the time that they filmed it.
And that's why it was so bright at 6:30 at night or whatever.
That explains it. And the script for Halloween didn't call for a specific kind of mask for Michael Myers. But then we got the mask that they did use. What did I say? It was Captain Kirk's mask. It was modified and it was spray painted white, which I thought was interesting. But that's all I have. You?
Okay,
You
I
have
have one
more?
thing to say. I threw up in a house that William Shatner used to live in.
You threw up in a house.
I threw up in a house, threw up, got sick, I got drunk, and I threw up.
Oh, I was gonna say, how did that happen? Were you drunk? And yes, you were drunk in a house that William Shatner was in.
That he used to live in. Because I
Oh
live
wow.
because I live in St. Mary's, Ontario, Canada. And in Stratford, Ontario, Canada, they have a festival theater that has plays on. And so I'm only 15 minutes from Stratford. So some of the actors would stay in St. Mary's. So this William Shatner stayed at this house that my friends later were renting when William Shatner was gone to Hollywood or whatever. And yes, he used to live there. And I got drunk and got sick in the same house. I got sick in the bathroom that William Shatner used to use or something. Yeah, there you go. That's
What
it.
an iconic moment. I wish I would have been, I wish I could have done that. Get drunk and puke in a house that William Shatner was in. That's an incredible experience.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there you go. Yes, because
Yeah, and
okay.
earlier you had mentioned The Thing, and I thought that was interesting how they were playing The Thing
Yeah, he
on
must
the
have been,
TV.
you know, how some Evil Dead movie had the Hills Have Eyes poster thing. So this is probably some homage to other movies they're paying credit to. So the thing and I would say,
John Carpenter remade The Thing in 1982.
oh,
Yeah, that could be
interesting too.
the reason. I'm not sure. Maybe I don't know, maybe he had a thing for The Thing. I don't know, but he remade the movie. But his version of The Thing was more heavily based on the source material of 1938 movie Who Goes There, which I have no clue who what that movie is, but it was based on that movie instead when he remade The Thing. So
Did you? Yeah.
strange,
Did
but
you say the mask cost $1.98? I see that.
the what?
It says the mask, the William Shatner mask you mentioned, it costs $1.98. That's where they
It
purchased it for $1.98.
really?
Probably from a dollar store, even though they didn't have dollar stores probably back then. But from Kmart or whatever it might have been back then.
Wow, interesting. I wonder how much it's worth now.
I don't know if they still have it or anything.
I wonder how much it would be worth now.
Okay. So, do you want to know what movie we're going to do next then?
Yes, I'm excited. I want to know.
Okay, I guess we're going to, since there wasn't a lot of comedy in this one, it was a
Okay.
little, but not really, probably too planned. But we're going to do Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh my gosh, I love it. See, I never know what movie Blake is going to pick, and he doesn't know what movie I'm going to pick for the next
Yeah.
podcast. So this is really fun. I like this.
So yeah, so make sure everybody you subscribe to us wherever you're listening to us. And we're also on YouTube under the Metal Pit YouTube channel since I also do the Metal Pit podcast. So make sure if you like listening to audio podcasts on YouTube, you can find it there. Or like I say, you can find it everywhere. Apple, Spotify, Pandora, whatever you listen to it, you can find it. So make sure you subscribe, share us, whatever, leave some comments, messages, anything you want. Give us your song list and maybe we'll read it on a future episode. So that was fun, Lonnie.
Yes, and if you have a new music, please send it to us so we can debut your music maybe in one of our episodes.
Yes, because you could give us permission and we could actually put it on a podcast episode.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
We're always looking for new ideas.
Yes. Okay. So thanks everybody for listening. Until next time.
Bye.
You were listening to Someone's in My Fruit Cellar podcast. Subscribe and rate our podcast wherever you listen to our podcast. Podcast edited by Blake. Visit our socials. Till next time.